yeah, it was a really good course, and we got some very interesting names thrown up, like you say. Kind of, I can't remember the last time I was rooting for a Mexican rider. I can't even remember the last pro Mexican rider. Can you guys think of a famous Mexican pro cyclist? Because
Someone
I
at
don't have one.
EF.
Yeah, Villabos was with them in 2020, maybe through 21, maybe through 19, but he was definitely there in the COVID season.
Hmm.
And there was a Mexican winner of the Tour de Trump when that was a big deal.
I just remember they used the Col de la Loz, and the way that he rode it really smart. He didn't follow surges all the time. He stuck to his own pace. He almost baited Riccatello to go into an attack, and then he used, I think it was Piganzoli, it might have been the other Italian rider, I'm not sure. Used him to bridge the gap back as much as he could, realized he was spent, and then bridged across and kind of wiped out an extra competitor in the finale. It was really smart riding, and if he brings that to the World Tour, he's not just some climbing guy who's just, oh, I'm just all about watts per kilo, rah, 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 just gonna go up the mountain as fast as I can. Like, he's actually got tactical nous, which is really good to see as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where he gets landed, because I presume, like, there's no way he doesn't get landed to a World Tour team, right?
I mean, we haven't said his name yet.
Oh
Isaac
yeah,
Del Toro. So like Isaac the Bull. Well, Del is
nice.
not the. If you look at Pro Cycling Stats, his stats of views this week has been 27,000. And we were like when we were seeing him winning stages, etc. And like winning up Col de la Loz, that's an amazing thing. And it was so great that they had that there. But yeah, cyclocross background. He's been in a few World Cup events representing Mexico, obviously. But yeah, again, so are we qualifying this as another cyclocross rider? So he did one season 2 years ago.
I also believe he has a bit of a mountain biking background as well. Yeah, I mean, he seems to be a bit of an all rounder. If you don't really know his name, that's very fair because he has. I mean, he's had some good results this year already. Top 10 in the Sibiu Cycling Tour, which is with some World Tour riders. He's also up there 10th overall at the Junior Peace Race. Was up there on a couple of stages at Valladolid, third place overall in that race. That's a really high class under 23 race. And he's currently riding for the AR Monex Pro Cycling Team, which is a San Marinese based team. So they're based in San Marino, but it's filled with mostly Mexican riders. Interesting combination there. And yeah, as you say, no attachment to the World Tour next year. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes. He gives me sort of Pogacar vibes.
He's 19 though, so like, well, I know there's a lot of like 19-year-olds doing well, but like, you almost want to say take one more year in the under 23s and then
Yeah.
go to
Because,
Yombo development.
well, the thing is, he has that Valadosta result. But apart from that, this Tour de l'Avenir win is pretty sort of shablamo. Like, it's quite unexpected, but it was super strong and convincing the way he did it. Even on one of the stages, he attacked on a hill stage, which is why I was like thinking of Pogacar, is that he just went away on a punchy finish to try to get more time. He lost 2 minutes in the team time trial because his Mexican team wasn't quite up to scratch, and he had to find those 2 minutes elsewhere. And he certainly did that in the mountains in quite emphatic fashion. The route as well. I mean, we're talking about Del Toro, but I think it was a really impressive week for Matthew Riccatello. I know the final stage kind of fell through for him, but he had a really strong week, good performance on Col de la Loz, as well as a strong mountain time trial performance, a bit like at the Giro early this year at Montelasari, where he performed inside the top 15 on the day on a grand tour mountain top time trial. So a lot of notable performances this week at the Tour de l'Avenir. Also, Jan Kristen, as well as his brother Fabio Kristen, both rode really good races. Jan Kristen, who's Poggy's little apprentice, who's now signed on for UAE, believe from halfway through this year. So he's now in UAE colours.
Wasn't it? I felt like it was cheating that Riccatello was there because if you've ridden a Grand Tour, then you shouldn't
Yeah,
be able to go to the Tour de l'Avenir because then in that we could
yeah.
say Juan Ayuso could turn up again next
Well,
year.
yeah. I do get what you mean, and I've kind of, I don't know, maybe there needs to be some stricter ruling on it where, if you have competed in a certain level
Yeah,
of UCI race, then you're not allowed. Like, if you've competed, say, in a World Tour race, then you're not allowed. Like, if you competed in a Dauphiné or even like a UAE Tour or whatever, then like you're like barred from it. But I'm not sure if that's just too I don't know, is that too gatekeepy
Yeah.
or
I
whatever? But
almost feel like if you're attached to a World Tour team or ridden for a World Tour team,
yeah,
then you shouldn't be allowed. But
yeah, because there's supposed to
they
be
aren't
a
World Tour,
race
so
where we like discover the future talent, but
exactly, yeah.
the way that cycling is going is that future talent is already basically discovered in the embryo of this rate. Like it's so ridiculous how early talent gets spotted up now. It's actually quite hard to you know talent spot now because well as viewers by the time that you've watched a Tour de l'Avenir it's too late. Like I remember us saying this in the preview, Scott, is that you said, which is a really good point, is that by the time you get to the Tour de l'Avenir, it's too late. Like you need to have scouted these guys before they've even arrived at that race, which, funnily enough, isn't the case for Del Toro. Which, despite the fact that he won, he's almost like he hasn't been scouted. So that's a bit of a blip in the algorithm, you could say. But gosh, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes. I just really hope he doesn't go to a Jumbo. Like, we don't need another guy. Can we just, or UAE, can we just send him to like a cool bit of team, you know?
Where is he going? That's the next thing. Yeah, where do we advise him to go? I mean, Ineos Grenadiers have lots of space. Don't have any Mexicans. They like the Americans.
Logistically, a Spanish-speaking setup would make sense. He does speak
Oh
English.
no,
We should say
not
that, but
Movistar.
I mean, Movistar makes sense. They've had Mexican riders in the past. Movistar, I think, as well, with their actual sponsor goals in Latin America are huge because it's like a massive communications and telecom industry there. And Movistar and Telefonica, big, big, big goals in Mexico and Latin America. Then you have other teams with strong Latin American cores, including Jaco Al Ula, which have quite a good Latin American and Spanish speaking setup over there. Also, EF Education First, Jonathan Vartas is a Spanish speaker, and the team have a lot of Latin American riders at the moment, including Richard Carapaz. They've also had Mexican riders in the past as well.
Uno
I think,
X. You should go to Uno X.
Also, if he's based in San Marino, he probably would be able to speak Italian, and that opens up Eolo
Is he
Cometa.
based there though? If it's just the team based there, because
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to think
Bahrain.
he would be able to parlo Italiano, but
so your advice, Ewan, is there are 10 teams you could go to.
Yeah. I
so
think
many.
I think that I mean there was that whole rumor of Roglic going to lead or Trek. I feel like they are looking maybe at a team, big new budget. Maybe they're looking at some new young GC prospect to really gather around because I do feel like Lidl Trek has lacked that big GC focus. Like they've kind of tried to do it with Ciccone, but it hasn't really fallen through. I feel like maybe this guy could be somebody who they're quite interested in, considering that Roglic, I'm not sure how realistic that is, but maybe something for much a longer term thing might work for them. As an American team, I know it's not Mexican, but North American. I don't know, bit of a
They're
link.
quite long term.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
19.
like leader on for a bit of a fair chunk of time though, aren't they? So maybe they'd be willing to, I don't know, start stocking some Mexican goods in their supermarkets.
It is the current trend to give like mammoth contracts to like 2027. Del Toro, yes, he had that great Valadosta performance as well. Is this Total Avenir performance, which was out of most people's radars, is that enough to guarantee or to warrant a mega 5 year long contract deal somewhere? Because we've seen so many riders like
Yeah,
Ruben
yeah.
Fernandez and so forth kind of fall
End of
through.
list. Wait,
Well,
what was the French guy called? Oh, are
Roman
we going to talk?
Sicard.
Yeah, Sika. Yeah, that was
Sicard had a mad season. He was like June. He was like under 23 world champion as well.
yeah, and then it kind of disappeared. Warren Barguil? No, that's harsh. I like Warren Barguil.
If he goes to DSM,
Oh,
Isaac
don't
Del
say
Toro.
things
If
like
you're
that.
if you're watching this video, don't go to DSM Firmenich.
Please don't.
Go to
Oh
Uno
gosh.
X. They need diversity. It can't just be
Oh,
Danish and Norwegian. We need a
Oh,
Mexican.
I feel like their first step would be somebody from like I don't know Germany or something like kind of dip their
Yeah.
toe in the water of like filter down through the continent.
I mean, Cycling Academy would love him because they like base their team around non-traditional cycling nations. And I mean, Mexico, you both said it, like it's not really a nation steeped in cycling glory. Which team do you think he's going to sign with? He might not actually sign with any of them, but
I'll back my guns. I'll say Lidl track.
Fair enough.
Although I've been hyping up this like EF pipe dream, I'm gonna go for UAE. It's I just feel like it's inevitable.
It is. It's so inevitable.
Like
And this is based
they
on the helmet as well.
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
it.
true. He was wearing the Met UAE style
Oh
helmet. I
no.
wasn't sure if that would smoothen sponsorship and partnership deals because that usually takes time to process. But
I
yeah, UAE.
I hate how accurate and right that sounds. I don't want it
Yeah.
I'm
to
gonna
work.
say
I don't want it.
Bora just to change it a bit.